Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and this is the Mick and Sue SD300 Studio Flash. In this video I'm going to show you some of the features that make this a professional flash head. Now the first thing you notice when you get it out of the box is the weight. It's not heavy, it's about 2 and a bit kilos, but it's substantial. And that's mostly down to its build. It's built out of this lovely kind of solid metal casing. So it's really substantial and should last the test of time and take the odd knock in the studio. Moving to the front where we have the business end of things. Now here you're going to find a flash tube that pumps out 300 watt-seconds of power. Now that's bright enough for use in a small studio. It's bright enough to use in a medium-sized studio without any problems as well. But if you really want to go brighter still, there's a 600 watt-second version of exactly the same flash head. Now the only difference is it has a bigger, brighter tube. Other than that, it's got the same features as this head we're looking at today. Now in the centre you've got a modelling lamp. It's a 150 watt modelling lamp that makes it pretty bright so you can really see what you're doing with the flash, and it's a variable output as well. Around it we've got a reflector. Now it comes as standard with an 18cm reflector which is removable, and then you can fit a whole bunch of other accessories to the front of the flash head. Although the front of the flash is the business end of things, round the back is where you as a photographer are most likely to be spending your time. So let's have a look at some of the buttons and settings back here. Well, let's start with the main one, the dial setting here for the power of the flash. Now this can be set steplessly between full power and right the way down to just under 1/30th of full power. And there's no stops and there's no clicks, it can be anything between the two. Now on the other side is the sync socket. Now this is one of 3 possible ways you can fire this flash head. The way it works is to use the sync cable that comes with the flash head. You plug one end into the sync socket, you stick the other end into your camera, and when you press the button on your camera, it fires the flash. Now you'd be glad to know that the trigger voltage for this flash unit is just 5 volts, making it perfectly safe for digital SLR cameras. Now if you don't want to do that, you can use the little built-in slave cell, and this is the way I like to do things if I'm using more than one flash head. Now the way this works is dead easy. You need another flash unit. When that flash unit fires, this flash unit will trigger when it senses the flash of light. But the last way is the way I like to work, which is again using the sync socket here but plugging in a radio trigger. That means you have a radio trigger in the flash, you have a transceiver on the camera, and when you fire the camera, the signal gets sent to the flash and fires the flash. The beauty of that is there are no cables for you to trip over, making your working area a lot safer. Now you can get radio triggers from the SMIC website as well. Okay, so working along the top, we've got a whole bunch of different buttons and settings here, so let's run through those. The first one, the big red one, is the mains on-off switch. You don't need me to tell you what that does, I'm sure. Next one though is the modelling lamp, and this is interesting because it has 3 possible settings. Setting number 1 is where I keep mine most of the time. That is where the modelling lamp is turned on, but it's in a variable power output mode. In other words, as you increase or decrease the brightness of the flash, your modelling light will get brighter and darker to correspond with the flash output. The next button along is the dim switch. Now this is quite a useful function. See, the problem is this: when you take a picture, this flash unit has to recharge before it gets back to full power, and that can be anything from ½ a second to 1½ seconds. Now that's actually very, very fast for a flash unit, but even so, you don't want to be taking any pictures whilst the flash unit's recharging, otherwise you won't get the full brightness of light. Well, if you have the dim switch turned on, what will happen is, whilst the flash is recharging, the modelling lamp will turn off. So if you can't see the modelling lamp, you know not to take a picture. Now there's another way you can do more or less the same thing, and that's the next button along, the beeper button. Now this works slightly differently. This works by giving a small audio beep when your flash has fully charged up. So when you hear the beep, you're ready to take another picture. Now you can use the beeper and the dim switch together, so you can have them both turned on. You can have one or the other turned on, or you can have them both turned off if you wish. So there's plenty of things you can customize on the back of the flash. The final button is the flash test button. Press that and it'll fire the flash head. Okay, so that's the basic buttons you've got there. Let's have a look at some of the attachments you can put on the front of the flash head. So just below the reflector is a small slot, and that's there to allow you to attach things like umbrellas. And because it's cut into the reflector, it means you can fit an umbrella nice and close to the centre of the flash unit. Dead easy to use. Grab yourself an umbrella, slide it through the slot, and tighten up the locking nut underneath. So there you are, you've fitted an umbrella in just a few seconds. But if you want to fit a softbox, then it's a slightly different story. So I'm going to remove the umbrella. And we also need to remove the reflector. Now the reflector just unclips like that, little button to pull, and off it pops. When you've removed it, you'll find that this reflector, and in fact this whole flash unit, takes as a standard S-type bayonet fitting. Now that makes it compatible with a really big range of extra products, many of which you can get from the SMIC website. But I'm going to fit a softbox to the front of this. I'm not going to fit any old softbox. I'm going to fit this one, which is, well, it's giant. This is 120 centimetres by 80 centimetres. Way too big to fit on the video, in fact. But it doesn't matter what size you fit, they all work in exactly the same way. First of all, you need to find the little locating pins on the back of the reflector. Line those up with your flash head and insert them. And of course, like all good soft boxes, this one comes with its own inner baffle, which attaches the little Velcro bits there and there, down in this corner, and finally in that corner. Now, the purpose of the inner baffle is to soften the light, to give a beautiful soft light. So it gets softened once by the baffle, and then again by the outer softbox cover. That just stretches over the corners nice and quickly, just like that. And then it's secured in place with a bit of Velcro running around the edge. Okay, let's turn the light on. Okay, there we are. So there it is. That's the SD300 set up with a giant softbox, and it's more than capable of filling that with light. To find out more details about the SD300 and the various kits that are available in 1, 2 and 3 light versions, have a look at the SMIC website at www.smic.co.uk. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.